Christmas time it is. It is time for the happy hour with the Business Squad. So, as usual, we're going to kick off with our round robin of introductions. Today we have a guest, Sherise Assad, over there. She's going to tell you about herself in a second. But we're going to start off with the coach today because the coach hasn't been here in a while. This is so awesome to have her around. She's been out doing a world tour. So give us your 90 second. Yeah, that's right. You get a 90 second. I agree. You can do some makeup seconds. Yeah, I agree.
Oh my goodness. So I'm Ellen Patnode. I am the coach with the Business Squad, and I change people's light bulbs. So I do that with individuals. I do that with teams. Sometimes, most of the time, they're business owners or businesses that want to have me help them shift their perspective, look at it through a different lens. If they're looking at it like this, I'm looking at it like this. So it's just a way to help people shift their perspective and try something new.
So how many coaches does it take to change a light bulb?
It depends on which coach you call. If you call this coach, only one.
Right on. All right, sir.
All right. I'm James Lippens. I'm from Payroll Vault. I'm a local Business Squad payroll person. Tax consultant. We like to offer small businesses cloud-based, personalized payroll solutions. So that's what we do. Yeah.
Okay.
Short and sweet.
It was actually.
Yeah.
So I'm James Lewis. I'm the financial guru here at the squad. My job is to make sure that your money behaves properly. And by that I mean is we'll go over your situation, be it personally or for your business. Take a look at it and make sure that you're utilizing every resource available for yourself to make the most of the dollars as they come in before they go out. A lot of times the business owner will take an answer with immediate fire and it may not be the best choice possible at the time. So my job is to stop, wait, assess, plan, then react. That's it. So give me a call. I can help your money behave.
I'm Ben Van Gelder, and I've been dubbed the Legal Eagle at the Business Squad, and I do business, everything from advising, consulting, contract work, regulations, compliance, all that sort of stuff. And my background is in healthcare law, and that got me good at finding the little tiny federal regulations with the print so small that if I lifted it up, you couldn't even see that it was print. And pulling that out into this is what you need to do on a daily basis to run your doctor's office or whatever.
Okay.
So that's kind of my thing.
Which is so important, especially what it is that I do. And my name is Sherise Assad. I'm the owner and CEO of Bye Bye Pain Mobile Lasers. We use we got laser beams everywhere. We use deep tissue laser therapy to rid the body of inflammation. The system that we currently use, 50 professional sports teams use inside of their locker rooms. We brought it down to everyday people that really need it for their aches and ailments. We have thousands of clinical studies showing the efficacy of laser therapy and scientifically proven and backed up by some major organizations like APTA, the WHO, and the IASP, which are some pretty big deals. Yeah. So we bring it down on a mobile platform. We're the only ones in the country doing it the way that we do it. So it's been a really awesome job trying to, figure out the bumps in the road that we'll talk about.
Probably makes you an expert about the pain of owning a business.
It does.
Finding the pain.
Finding the pain.
And living in the pain.
Yeah. So
by the way, it's to the topic today.
Yeah. So what we do is we set up our business inside of other shops. So we go to the body shops, we go to chiropractic offices, we go to physical therapy locations, we go to where the people are. We understand the struggles with people going to one more facility in their day, and we don't want them to do that. So we take that problem and we put that logistical nightmare onto our plate for them, so that way we make their lives easier. So that's what we do.
Shazam. Okay. My name's John Schmansky. I'm the benefits guy here with the Business Squad, and I'm a partner with James and Cook Pelly Financial, and my focus is to help with the group benefits, the long-term care, disability, life, and quite often our opening is usually the health care. So that's a real pain point for a lot of businesses, and we are a solution.
That's going to get real old, that whole pain pun.
Well, that's not the word of the day.
It'll be painful.
Yeah.
Well, I'm done using it, so.
I'll hold you to that.
Fair enough, yeah. So our first segment of the show, as always, is what we call the Pulse. And in this segment, we go over just some current topics, and relevant to today's focus on topics is the pain of owning a business. Maybe it's the pain of acquiring a client, the pain of your clients themselves, or it might be the pain that you don't even have a plan. And one of the articles that our excellent producer, the Words Girl, found for us, because she's awesome, we love you, girl, is finding the pain. And in that article, they talk about some of the processes of, how can you say this? I guess learning to identify the pains of business ownership, right? So I'm going to kick this to you, Coach, because this is this whole episode really today is in your wheelhouse. Because you're the one that says, hey, your light bulbs are burned out. And people don't even know about LEDs.
Right.
Yeah, so school us about an LED.
Well, the reality is they don't know about their pain, actually,
Yeah.
quite often.
So I think what they know are the symptoms of the pain.
Sure.
I think what usually they're missing out on are what the sources of the pain are. And really having an opportunity or taking an opportunity to sit down, talk to somebody who can walk you through the process of identifying the different components of your business so that you can have a better shot at understanding the root causes. One of the things that that article talked about was the fact that we react usually to the symptoms. If you've got a system set up and there's a lot of errors coming through that system, you don't necessarily fix the system. You look at what's the input into the system. So you go a little bit deeper into the cause of what the problem is to be able to identify what the best solution is going to be. I think that oftentimes it takes a conversation to get started. It's not rocket science. It's not overly complex. It certainly isn't scientifically complicated like what you do. It really is a matter of sitting down and being willing to openly and honestly examine the different pieces of your business to discover where some of the critical issues are that could use attention. And then I find making very simple tweaks to how you are operating your business, you're able to make a significant difference. So I think the first step really is in being brave enough to sit down with somebody who's an expert and have that conversation.
Somebody, because you're so close to it, you can't see the problem quite often, right?
That's exactly it.
I'd even argue that a lot of times you only have a plan in place. So they're just kind of seat of the pants, right?
Yeah.
Like, I got this idea, and I'm running out the door.
Yeah.
I thought success by mistake was long gone with the 90s,
Tell that to Silicon
No.
Valley, because they've been getting away with it for many decades.
No.
Yeah, okay.
You know what I thought when I looked at the topic is that, and I was just reading an article similar to this thing recently, is that, generally the most successful salespeople, the people who sell, look to engage their customer and identify those pain points. So they're not selling a product to you; they're selling a solution to your
That's
issue.
right.
They're solving the
Always
problem.
solution selling.
And so it's a big thing. So I was actually reading this article about Jordan Belfort, right? So, the guy from the Wolf of Wall Street movie.
Yes.
Okay, so he's a horrible person. Let me just start off with that, but that's like what their whole business was really based on. So in the movie, he talks about being in a conference and going up to one of the salespeople and saying, "Sell me this pen," and they go through the movie and they're like, "Well, this is a great pen. It's blue and it writes upside down and it has all these things." And so the article I was reading was, what was the actual right answer to that question? He's like, "I do this all the time, and really what I want to do is I want the person to ask me questions. So
That's right.
I want them to say, when was the last time you used a pen?
Right.
Do you like blue pens or black pens? What are you using your pen for? Do you like to sign documents? Is it a status symbol for
Do
you?
you have a pen right now?
I actually have
Yeah.
I have a really
Yeah.
good pen to install all your solutions.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's interesting how that kind of feeds into those pain points.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I was thinking when I read through the pain point.
Yeah. I think it's an interesting analogy too, because with pain, it's always easier to stop. Usually, right? Some things there's always pain, but if you can find a way to prevent the pain, right, from even happening, you're way better off.
And I think just bouncing off of that and what you said, we talk about symptoms, right? That's what we talk about. We don't want to only treat the symptoms. We want to figure out what the cause is for, which lack, of course, in the medical community. We're so accustomed to treating the symptoms. And I think going back off of what you said, a lot of people that I come across with aren't wanting to open the doors to you. Because you're going to pinpoint our faults,
Right.
and it's like you have to be very open to suggestion and to somebody who says, listen, what you're doing works, but we can make it better. And I think same thing with the health industry. You know, we say, listen, that's great, but is it working for you? Because if it's not working for you, we kind of need to change it up.
A long time ago, when I was training people in the financial industry, I used to tell them, get on the pain train, because they'd have to actually pick up a phone and go, hi, Mrs. So-and-so, I'm going to talk to you about, hi, Mrs. Hello? How'd the dog answer? Hello? And they'd have to get beat on all the time. And I'm like, get on the pain train, embrace the pain. And it's business ownership's no different. Because if you run from it, it just festers. It's like a tumor. And next thing you know, starts with this, and you're carrying it on your back, and squashes you, right? Your business, right? Dead, right?
That's absolutely right. I had an early mentor who was fond of saying, back to what you were talking about with the roadmap or the plan, an early mentor of mine was fond of saying, if you don't know where you're going, any road is going to get you there. And I've just found there are so many business owners who operate their business that way. And I really think we have to get away from this idea of publicly shaming people for what they're doing wrong, whether it comes to their health care or their financials in their business, whatever it is, there's always a way to handle it. And I think that the shaming that I hear about that sometimes goes on where people are just made to feel dumb or feel like they just don't know anything.
I think that's an internal thing. That's an ego thing for the business owner. You know, if I could relate to it, it's like, you know, I'm doing things wrong, but I don't want to admit it to anybody.
Right.
You know, God forbid I'm not going to hire somebody and bring them in here to admit all my errors.
That's true, but I also run into business owners who are sort of like this when they approach the first conversation because they're expecting that dressing down. They're expecting to be sort of publicly humiliated for all of the things that they've done.
What do you mean you didn't know?
As a sales tactic, right?
I can't believe it. I
As a
see
sales
this every
tactic.
day.
Right.
Exactly, and that's not a helpful way.
No.
That's not a way that supports businesses. It's not a way that helps people really determine what is that difference between what you declare you want to be building as a business owner and where you actually are or how you're behaving. Because that's the number one gap that I find is the difference between what you want and how you actually are behaving day to day. And it takes somebody with an outside perspective to just help you be able to see what that gap looks like.
In your coaching, is it as simple as the goal setting, you know, or the lack of that is a huge pain point or problem for small businesses? And is it absolutely critical to have a well thought out, you know, and organized goals or
So it's a complicated question, right, with a sort of complicated answer, but I'll try to keep it as streamlined as I can. I think goal setting is important, but goal setting standing alone by itself isn't going to, that and $1 will buy you a cheap cup of coffee. Right. Like it isn't by itself, goal setting means nothing. Goal setting has got to be put within a context. What is your exit strategy? What is your plan for building this business? Where are you ultimately trying to go with your business? You know, what is the bigger context within which you're going to set goals? So people can set goals all day long, and they do, and that's the problem, right?
But they lack action.
They're not tied to anything. They're not tied to any sort of well thought out concept of what are you really trying to build right now. And the danger that goes along with that is either you grow way too fast and you can't handle the capacity that you've taken on, or you don't grow anywhere and you shrivel and die on the vine because your goals are so disconnected from any sort of a comprehensive vision of what it is you're trying to build. So it's all got to be done within a context.
Yeah. You know, and I think too, going back a little bit, like I keep getting reminded of how stark this comparison is in healthcare, because right now in physicians, there's a shift from the physicians that are sort of the dictators in the operating room or the patient's bedside. We got to do X, Y, Z. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. You nurse do that. You nurse do that. And they're just kind of bossing everybody around. And they're shifting that towards a more sort of communal, collaborative effort. And part of that, right, the instinct is to say, well, that's because doctors have been assholes. We got to fix it. But if you think about the way medicine worked, right, when you were a doctor in 1800 with your horse and your medicine bag and you went to somebody's house, you couldn't be collaborative. You had to be decisive. Right. We're cutting your leg off. That's what we're going to do. And you had to do it to be successful.
Right.
Hot water and towels.
And I think for business owners too, you know, in the past, previously, you couldn't just Google stuff, right? You were in it. You had to make decisions. You had to be decisive. And now it's changing. You can find things online. There are people that can help you, and you need to acknowledge that you're not a lone wolf. You've got to be collaborative.
I'm sensing the tie back.
Yeah, like maybe something like the business squad could help you, right?
Right?
If goal setting's too hard, have Ellen help you, right?
Bring your
Well,
pain.
I
Bring your
say-
pain to us.
That's right.
Right. I'd even say it this way. So I was listening to Wharton Radio, what was it, Monday? And they were talking about the difference between the shift in the economy. And they call it the collaborative economy. And then going forward, the economy is going to be approached as a collaborative economy. If you talk to the average millennial, like, yeah, why not? I grew up playing Xbox. I talked to everybody. We worked as a team of 6, and we took over capitals, and we killed people with our guns. I'm used to working with a bunch of people to get shit done. Sounds great. So they're going to grow up and be adults and expect the same functionality. And the beauty of it is that it's a global issue, so it's not even just that the United States are this way. They played games with everybody that had an Xbox around the planet, and they behaved the same way.
Right.
So it is a transition, I think, from the old school of thought, the authoritarian model, right, where I'm going to do it all, and I'm going to take care of everything, and I'm going to hire 95 minions. They're going to do everything, and I'm going to be like Steve Jobs with an apple and die, and nobody to innovate and run the company because I wasn't collaborative. Snap.
That's
Yeah.
interesting. So I'm going to take you
Yeah.
just slightly off topic here, but it's got to do with millennials, and it's
Yeah.
really interesting.
Yeah.
So I was watching Vice on HBO yesterday, and they were
This
talking
could go
about
sideways.
they were talking about renewed relations with Cuba.
Oh, yeah.
So on our side, relations are being driven by our president and his
Agenda to do
foreign
whatever.
policy.
Yeah.
His legacy
On the
plan.
Cuban side, the opening relations are driven by the young millennials in their
Right.
in their country who are getting these pirated copies of American TV and radio and music and all
Yep.
in internet sites. So they have like key fobs. Like we have this thing, we
Oh,
talked about thumb drives. Apparently
You've
in
tied
Cuba,
back 2 episodes.
right?
Really?
Apparently in Cuba, thumb drives are essentially their internet because only 2% of their
yeah.
populations actually have it.
That makes sense.
So the millennials drive change in so many ways. You have this hardline communist country that's all about just mild oppression.
Just a little.
Just a little. But they're being more open to free trade and to letting Americans come
Well,
because that's what the millennials demand in their country.
Absolutely, and that's around the world, right? Egypt, same
Yeah.
issue. You can go around the world, and you can go as far back though that the cultures really drives change.
Yeah.
Go back to Russia, and everyone can argue that it was all of our weapons that broke Russia. It wasn't.
Yeah.
They got 5 years after McDonald's landed in Moscow. They're like, what are these McDonald's, Levi's things? This is cool. They said America's evil. What is all this cool stuff? They never talked about this.
Right.
We want some
economically
Levi's. We
it
want
broke
some of
them,
that.
right?
Huh?
Yeah.
They couldn't afford to continue.
Well, what couldn't afford to continue?
Russia had issues with we outspent them. That's the
That's
quote.
the argument, but in reality, they would have just ground the people like North Korea, dude.
Yeah.
North Korea didn't care. They were still sucking the life out of everybody. People die, and they just keep making weapons. At the end of the day, culture won. Culture will win across this whole planet. That's why I tell people, is boogie, boogie, boogie is all the evil politicians scare you, and Uba Uba News says go hide. Technology and culture will change this whole globe. It's going to, because technology is spreading culture around for people to realize it. My resources aren't limited. I don't have to go to war with you.
Right.
You could show me to make enough food out of my backyard. I didn't know how. This is awesome.
Right.
I don't have to pick up a gun to kill my neighbor.
Well,
Score.
with millennials too. I mean,
Yeah,
you
you
say
know.
to me like, oh well, we're having it's like, well, why wouldn't we negotiate with Cuba? Like, they're a country. Why wouldn't we
Right.
trade with them?
All
to
day.
me, it's like, and I'm, I was born in '87, but from my perspective, it's like, well, why wouldn't?
Yeah, but the argument
Sorry.
Like, North Korea wants to
the
trade
argument
with
is
us, why
that
not,
the
like-
human rights and oppression and
No, I get that. I'm just saying that I think millennials care less about sort of, they're still people, right? And
Yeah.
you play Xbox with them and get them internet and all this kind of, and it's just like not, the fact that they're communist is not like a Uga Booga type thing.
Right. Well, one more back time, we'll roll forward. In our previous millennial episode, if you go back and look, we have the whole thing on there. You can check it out. In our previous millennial episode, we talked about that as millennials, they will throw out everything that doesn't work. Where the boomers say, well, it's been our tradition for 997 years. Don't fucking touch it.
Right.
Millennials like, no way, it sucks. It's BS. Throw it out. And that's part of the problem they have in the workplace. Part of the problem everywhere. And and they get all other cankers get all up, and the boomers like, we did forever. We're not changing. And millennials like, it doesn't work. Cuba policy is a great example. You put these people in a box, you isolate them from the whole damn world. They're driving cars from 70 years ago.
That's what I saw on the coverage. All I could see was these 50 Chevys and stuff driving
Yeah.
around behind it, go to, but they're beautiful. They're
We-
painted
yeah.
up nice,
And
colorful.
the innovation
Yeah.
that's behind the ways in which they had to
Make that stuff
materials
survive.
to
Right.
be able
Survive.
to fix them and
Well,
keep them
and
running
keep
all
them
these
running,
years.
yeah.
It's
One more thing
amazing.
about Cuba. Here's
Yeah.
another interesting thing.
Yeah,
Part of this normalized relation. Cuba's been working on a lung cancer vaccine for like the last 25 years because lung cancer is like the number one killer of people in their country.
Mm.
Obviously, they admit
You have cigars, endless cigars, right? You smoke them.
And
Child
it
gets a
actually
pacifier and a
works.
cigar.
Like, they have these clinical trials that say like 1 out of every 4 people in Cuba get lung cancer and die, and of those people, they can save like 25% of them with their cancer vaccine. And we're importing it here, running clinical trials now. So I mean,
And that's from the
it's just-
cigars?
That's because they had such an epidemic of lung cancer, they needed to do something about it.
Smoking does give you lung cancer.
No,
just so you know.
I believe that, James. I'm just saying,
Pretty
I mean,
well
I just don't, I
It's
don't
real
see the whole,
It's
the
not-
whole,
it's
the
not
whole population
completely-
out there smoking
Sure,
cigars.
it's not
Right.
exclusively about it, but it's about quality of life. Look, I lived in Central America for a year, rural Central America, 20 years ago. And the number one thing I noticed there 20 years ago when the Dirty Dozen chemicals had been outlawed in the developed world for
Right.
years, and they were
Decades, yeah.
still literally selling them for $0.10 a gallon down in rural Central America and using them on crops. So the rates
With
of
DDT and stuff?
Yes.
Oh, shit.
DDT as an example, but there's a Dirty Dozen, of one of which is DDT. They were using them to spray on their crops and grow vegetation, and the rates of leukemia and cancer in those communities was off the charts. So that being a problem 20 years ago in a country that hasn't been economically sanctioned and
Right.
blocked by our government in a large part of the world, I can only imagine in Cuba they must have all kinds of environmental factors contributing to that rate of
Okay.
disease. So
So now that we've are off
Yeah,
topic,
tangent
I'll
over.
bring us back around, and we'll talk about actually using the pain and alleviating the pain in business. And I don't know if you guys got a chance to read those articles, but one of the things they talk about using the pain as a motivator, basically,
Yeah.
right? Get your ass off the couch, so
That's
to
right.
speak, and get
Right.
moving. And it's
Or
been,
pleasure.
Yeah, right. Well, the carrot or the
Okay, that's
carrot
a
or the
whole
stick.
nother-
Yeah,
whole
right.
nother ball
that's a
Well-
different episode.
No, but that's the two things that motivate people.
Sticks and carrots, right?
Yeah.
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 Fear,
Yeah,
fear,
right.
greed. Yeah, and you can argue that, and I agree. I don't think anybody's really. I think they're motivated a lot of times if it's the positive, it's sense of accomplishment, pride of making something or whatever.
Pleasure. There you
Right,
go.
right. Yep. Fear and greed. They say same thing, right? Yep.
One of the things that I can talk about too about that is, being in a business that doesn't have a pathway, doesn't have somebody who's a turnkey that can say, "Hey, child, you're doing this business now. This is the path you must take." You have all these hills and valleys in the business, and so one of the things is being an achiever, which is what I think one of my innate qualities is trying to overcome all of those objections. Like you said,
Yeah.
ringing the phone calls 1,000,001 times, getting
Sure.
used to the pain. Walking in with just a laser on your bag to whatever business it is that you do, but going in and educating people, this is what it is that I do. I know you've never heard of it before, but let me show you. And, driving that, and part of the pain with that as well was, being a business owner, you start working in your business and not on your business because there is no
Right.
pathway.
Yeah.
There is no, listen, I don't want my girls going out on the field and doing this because I got to know if it works first.
Right.
And I got to know what they're saying and I got to know what the objections are so that I can be able to create a training process for them saying, hey, when you go out onto the field, this is some of the objections you're going to get and this is how you overcome them. So
Right.
absolutely, I think pleasure with trying to figure out and saying, yes, I finally did it, and there's the
Yeah.
next one. And, building your pot, if you will, along the way is a reward.
Absolutely. I think one of the big pain points that I come across a lot in businesses is the ups and downs of the financials. That's one of the biggest challenges I think of being self-employed, even for myself, is
Yeah.
how do you manage the ebbs and flows of income and the bottom line and the cash flow and what happens with
Fairy
that.
dust and prayers.
Yeah, right.
Smoke and mirrors, or
Right.
just make a lot.
That's
Yeah.
right. Make so much that it doesn't matter. But if you have a $10,000 month and then you have a $1,800 month, how do you compensate and what happens in that process? So putting things in place not only to think about the immediate bottom line cash flow part of the process, but this is what we talked about earlier, digging a little bit deeper and looking at, well, what's causing that lack of consistency in your cash flow in the first place. What does your marketing strategy look like? How are you feeding your pipeline? How are you developing your pipeline at all times so that even when business is booming and really good, you've still got other things that you're developing that are in the pipeline so that when things do slow down a little bit, you've got follow-up calls that you can make and you've got a comprehensive strategy that's working for you all the time. Some of it behind the scenes because you've automated it, and some of it you actually are, ongoingly working on it a little bit along the way. But it's all part of how that fits together and really looking at what's the deeper cause of that pain. Right. But that cash flow bottom line, that is absolutely a huge motivator, because if your bottom line shrinks too much, you can't stay in business.
Right. Money talks.
Money, absolutely.
One of the things that I keep coming back to is, for me, if somebody's coming to me because they've got pain, it's too late.
The car's wrecked and
you're being sued over a contract. I can help you, but you've got to pay me, and it's going to cost you a ton of money, and it's too late. Yeah. So I struggle with, all right, how do I tell people that there's things they need to address that are not painful right now and are not going to be pleasurable to deal with, but need to be addressed?
Do it the right way first.
Right, but it's always hard, because when somebody's got, nobody's got enough time if you're running your business. Mm-hmm. You definitely don't have enough time. And so they always choose pain, right, or pleasure over sort of a neutral, like prevention of future pain or getting future pleasure. So that's a difficult, and it's not a wrong way to look at it necessarily, right? If you don't have the money to pay your groceries, that's got to be your number one concern. Mm-hmm. But I just wonder, for me, it's,
how do you run? It's how you run your business. Are you proactive and you plan and run your business, or do you run around putting out fires? Are you reactive?
Right. So that's a really good point.
And 90% of the people that are entrepreneurs are reactive.
Absolutely.
Right? Because they've shot themselves right out of the gate. I got an idea, I'm going to go sell it, I'm gone.
Or
they go down the road,
boss, and they want to be self-employed.
That's right.
They figure it out as they go.
Just jump off the ship and go. That's usually why they're entrepreneurs. They do well with that aspect of it. Mm-hmm. But you got to grab them shortly after they leave the gate and say, okay, give me just 5 minutes of slowing down so I can help define your path that you're going to tear down. Go get them. Make yourself proud.
Well,
and
priorities
tough, right?
and setting priorities and what Stephen Covey talked about, spending most of your time on the busy work that's not important and that consumes your day, when you're avoiding the long-term planning that doesn't give you immediate gratification or pleasure. But
absolutely, and Pareto's principle, right? You spend 80% of your 80% of your success comes from 20% of your effort. Right. Really learning how to identify where can you maximize your effort and not spinning your wheels with the symptoms, but actually going for the sources of the pain.
So 20 years ago, when I started my career, one of the things they first taught us based on that principle was they said, classify your book. Break your book up, your book of business. I'm like, well, what do you mean? They're like, well, do it by colors or do it by whatever. Mine is A, B, and C. Had A, B, C, and D clients. And the D client was someone that did conversation with me or one really small investment maybe or something. And the A client, they gave me a ton of investments. They said, here's everything I got. I love you. Take care of me. And the idea was at top A client book, keep going back to them. Keep dipping your ladle in that well for referrals, for their new monies, change of lifestyle, things that happen, whatever. The B book, when you got time, the C book, make it a point to systematically work on them, once a quarter, touch them. And the D book, if something came, it came, and they were there, and they kind of were just fruit on the vine. If it ever matured, great. You never spend any real time with them. And the prioritization of your business day is important, and it goes back to what we do as the squad and why our role for the entrepreneur is so important, because we will clear the deck of all the noise.
Right.
We now give you a clear shot at being the star that you are and what you do best, and help you alleviate with lots of band-aids all the other pain and ointments and salves.
We're not band-aids, we're this corrective surgery.
Or maybe that's surgery.
But you've got the business owner that he's going to give all this up, but he doesn't know what he's going to do. He's like,
go sell more of what they do.
Yeah, right. Let's go back to your core business and building your business.
That's right.
So. And I think that's where Ellen comes in, really.
Oh, yeah,
sure. Because that's where you sort of need to know what should I be doing. And for
we take away all the busy work and we send them over to Ellen to do long-term plan.
That's right. And Ellen's like, all right, gotta hit the road work right now. Hit the heavy bag. Go on, get in there.
And that's an
Coach,
advantage
I'm
too,
tired.
just to plug the
Yeah,
business squad a little bit, right?
More.
Ellen and I, if we've got the same client, we can talk and communicate about that client
That's
very
right.
easily. It's really easy to do,
Mhm.
right? If there's an upcoming contract, right, that involves money, obviously, because they all do, I would hope. If you've got contracts that don't involve money, you should probably
Rethink
talk
your
to me.
business. Rethink your business. Just saying.
Yeah.
But James and I are right across the hall from each other, right? So James can be like, well, we need to make the money look like this. And I can be like, all right, well, let me just figure out the language and work all that together so that, we're a team that helps you collaborate and do what you need to do.
Absolutely.
Without you managing multiple relationship points.
That's right.
Exactly. Yep.
That's right.
And that's why we're awesome. And that's why you're watching the show.
Yep.
All
That's
46
right.
subscribers are going to see this in your email box tomorrow.
Yep.
And all you random passerbys throughout the week, your 100 and plus of you that watch it, God bless you all.
Mhm. And then the millions and millions of people in the future.
They will
That's
watch
right.
it. That's right. It's all
Our
Right, yeah.
future viewers.
Our future viewers,
That's
we
right.
love you.
We love our current viewers too.
That's
We
We
love
do
them
love
all.
our current viewers as
Yeah.
well.
So our next segment that we do is actually the good, the bad, and the ugly of businesses, or we call it the boo and the hiss and the good. The boo and the hiss. And did you guys see about the new Starbucks in Queens?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Why?
Because
Oh, like
they are
why?
not looking at the bottom line. They did not open that store to make money, right? They opened
That's
that
just-
store to.
It just grates my
Let me-
capitalist heart.
Well,
to
let
do
me.
this.
Okay, I guess let me rephrase that. They
No,
were
I
not
think
looking
they
at-
did. I think they're looking
No,
for
no,
they're
you're
looking for a long-term
That's
plan.
what I
Though,
should
is
have
what
said.
they're
They're
doing.
not looking at the immediate long-term bottom line, right? They're
Right.
saying in the long term, we are having a presence in this community, and whatever Starbucks puts in their coffee, it's really hard for me to go anyplace else.
It's crap.
For
I agree with that.
So they put crack, whatever they put in it, I'm a customer for life.
Yeah, I
so
got
once they
you.
get them, they're God.
Yeah,
And
it's
they're
unicorn
training
dust or
these.
something. I
They're
don't know.
training people to be good at customer service, which a lot of those people will be Starbucks baristas down the line that
Sure.
do customer service, and they're just making they see the big picture, which I think is really cool to see a business doing that.
And I mean, look, we're talking about it now, aren't we? So,
That's right.
Well,
I mean, it's
right.
advertising.
Yeah, but that's because the
Absolutely.
producer put it in our rundown.
She's
Yeah, but
a
the
Starbucks
producer
person.
found it because it's out there
Yes, it's
because
out there.
because that's what Starbucks did, and they're like, well, this is worth press.
Yeah.
Well, and
Let's
it's-
let's remake our image a little bit.
But
This
it's
is-
about
we're
that
the
what
good
we talk
guys.
about all the time is this new wave of socially conscious business.
I was
And-
about to tie it back to our
Yeah,
previous
I mean-
episode when we talked about the
And
socially conscious
Starbucks
business
means
model.
socially
Absolutely.
conscious business models because
Yeah.
they're not they don't have the greatest reputation, let's say.
Why?
Whether you're addicted to
No,
their coffee
there's
or
drugs in the coffee that make it just go right under your head, so I have no idea.
not.
Well, that's coming
but-
out next week about.
Sure.
Right. But I also, I'm going to put this out there too. I don't know what the figures are, but there is a huge amount of buying power in the types of neighborhoods that are typical of
That's true.
Jamaica, Queens.
Yeah.
There's a huge amount of buying
Yeah,
power
it's a whole
in
new
those
market
communities.
is what they're trying to break into.
And that's very
Right.
smart. So I mean,
Yeah.
yes, they're a socially conscious company. Yes, all these other aspects of
Right.
it are really good. But let's not overlook the fact that they are also tapping into something that so many corporations, aside from Walmart, have failed to capitalize on, which is
Right.
there's an immense buying
where
power.
where do
in
you
that
get a
community.
good cup of coffee in that community?
Right.
You know, and it ain't
Right.
Speedway.
Right. Very
know?
true.
Well,
Very
that's
I
true.
mean,
There is no
that's
speed.
You
kinda
can
what we
live
talked
off of
about.
Speedway
Or the
coffee
liquor store.
or
You're more likely to
McDonald's.
find the liquor store
Yeah.
in a
Yeah,
community
that's
like
true.
that,
That's very
unfortunately.
true. Well, it's kind of
That's
like what we
bad.
talked about with KFC, right? They're not, they had that LGBT
Yeah.
discrimination, and they nipped that one right in the bud. Partially, yes, it's socially conscious, it's great. Also, partially because they're taking a business perspective that people care about this, and if we don't do this, we'll lose customers. And this
Right.
is an expectation of people in 2016: is you don't treat people that way.
Yeah, and they want to differentiate themselves from their number one competitor, Chick-fil-A.
Right, we talked about
Who
that.
are
Yeah, we-
complete assholes when it comes to this fucking issue. So
Exactly right.
As we would know,
Exactly
for those of
right.
you that don't
Sorry.
know, Ellen
Word of
wasn't
the
here
day.
that week,
Word of the
and she
day.
missed- and she missed this episode, which
and this is an issue that's pretty fucking near and dear to my
Oh,
heart.
sure,
So
yeah.
you
Yeah.
know,
She
We
split up about it.
we threw Chick-fil-A under the bus pretty
we
good.
did.
Oh, we
Yeah,
did.
we thought we did.
We're all on
thank
the
you.
same-
I
Right,
appreciate that.
But now you know how she really feels.
Right. Just in case
Besides
there was
that, we
confusion.
did say they have delicious chicken sandwiches, but
Yeah, we're like
We're not gonna
curse you
focus
and
on
your
that,
sandwich.
James.
Right?
We're not
Curse you
gonna
and your
focus on that.
sandwich.
We're not
but
talking
your
about the
evil
quality
ways.
of the product.
But the other kicker of it was it's a private company and he has the right to be a dick.
That's right.
And so it's
That's true.
and he can choose not to eat his delicious chicken sandwiches,
That's true.
which I don't.
Okay, so what do we say? Kudos to Starbucks.
So kudos to
Kudos to
Starbucks.
Starbucks.
I agree, absolutely.
Yeah.
Kudos for
Absolutely.
And I
Now-
think the bottom line is that just because something is socially conscious, a nice thing to do, doesn't mean that you're a nonprofit that's not making any money.
No,
No,
right.
for sure.
It's also
for
good
sure.
That doesn't make them bad that they make money off of it.
No.
Well,
Right.
right.
It
doesn't make
Nonprofits
sense.
don't
Absolutely
necessarily make no money either. They just reinvest their money in their
Right.
product.
I always say to
that's a
my
whole nother. That's a whole nother-
I always
That's
say
in
to my
June.
I always say to my team, it's okay to make an income while making an impact.
That's right.
And it is okay.
Ooh, she said
That's
that.
a good.
Oh, good.
That's a good little
Yeah.
quote. Remember
That's
that.
right.
That's
Yeah.
that's a tagline.
It is, because for what it is that we do, I mean, to be socially conscious, I mean, we, you know, in the industry that we're so accustomed to people getting taken advantage of that are in the pain industry.
Yeah.
You know, like people have been sold a pack of lies.
So how do you overcome that?
We offer the first one completely complimentary. Doesn't matter who you are or where you're at.
Oh, that's good.
It's 100% free, because on our aspect is we have to know if this is going to work for you.
Right.
There are some patients that this will not work for, about 5%,
But you'll feel a difference in the first visit.
and it requires them to tell me that, or one of my therapists.
And that's how she hooks you.
Yeah, it's like crack. Give
It's
me a little
like-
bit of a
it's
taste
like
and then you go
Starbucks.
back
Oh, and I was just gonna
That's
say,
right.
and it's so nice of you for not hooking all your patients
I know.
on opiates.
I know,
Like,
right? And
you
that's
know.
the thing too, because I mean, for what it is that we do, our goal is to get them off of the drugs and the
Right.
injections and the unnecessary.
Well, I have somebody in my life that has chronic pain.
Mm-hmm.
She has a lower back issue and she's taking heavy duty medications and
Mm-hmm.
you know she's afraid to go to a chiropractor for a variety of reasons.
For sure. Yeah.
What we do is we put skin in the game on our end. We say let us show you. Don't believe us, because they're so accustomed, right, to being taken advantage of.
Right.
That hey, listen, you know, try 12 of them and then you'll feel a difference.
Yeah.
Versus if you don't feel something.
Oh, that
the
makes me
first
feel
time-
real good about what you're doing.
Right. So if they don't see it right then and there, we don't take them. I had a lady come in and she said, you know, this is my issue. We tried, it didn't work. And she said, well, when do I come back in next? And I said, you know what? I don't know. It's not working for you. So I gave her a second one for free, because I wasn't for sure. Is it something that she had? When the second time didn't work, I said, I can't take you. She was willing to give me the money. And I said,
Right.
that's stealing.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
stealing
Yeah.
somebody's money.
Just like what kind of relief can they expect? You know, does it last a week? Does it last a month?
Each person's so different, and it depends on a lot of
Scar
variables.
tissue and
Yeah, it depends on a lot of variables. What we do is we go through that. There are no shades of gray. We say, listen, the biggest thing that you can do is communicate to us. When does it come back? The machines are set up for certain protocols, right? But that doesn't mean that that's the best protocol for that person. I had a woman come in a week ago and she said, you know, my doctor, you know, diagnosed me and I've got bursitis. So that's what I put the machine on, was bursitis. Well, her pain came back that night, so she gave me a call. All of my girls give out their cell phone numbers. We have about 150 text messages that come through a day from our patients.
Wow.
And what we say is, because they're all important to us.
Right.
And we don't want to wait till the next time that they come in, because we might change up the protocol. So when she called me and she said, hey, it came back later that night. I said, you know what? I bet you I put it on a different protocol. I'm not saying that you don't have bursitis, but
Right.
each person's different. The next time she came in, we put it underneath arthritis, and go figure, it lasted 3 days. In the beginning, it will come back relatively quick, because they're cumulative. They gotta, you know, your cells can only handle so much healing at that point. So what we do is we put them on a specific game plan. I think anybody who tells you, you got to come in Monday, Wednesday, Friday for 6 weeks, and it's $4,000 or whatever it is, you should run away from, because each person's different, you know, when it comes to lifestyle.
Does traditional insurance doesn't cover this?
It does. It just
It does.
And we don't bill directly, because we want to keep the cost low. Again, keep it in mind the patient care. We would rather treat 100 people for $1, you know, than one person for $100. So what we do is we help them fill out their insurance forms. We say, listen, bring on your reimbursement form. We'll help you pull it in the CPT billing code. We'll help you with that. We've seen Priority Health and Blue Cross Blue Shield will cover $18 to $22 a treatment. Medicare, Medicaid's about $5 or $6.
You gotta avoid that situation where your MRI cost goes up to $1,000 when a cash payer pays $350.
Yeah.
Only because
And we
that's
tell
the
them, we say,
negotiated price.
right, and there's no insurance that'll cover it 100%. So we say, listen, if we have to hire a medical billing department, our cost goes up, your cost goes up. So we'll help you. So they're essentially paying us and then getting reimbursed, and we cross our fingers and we.
Well, relief is how do you put a price on?
Exactly.
price
Well, that's
on
it.
You know, and I think that's a good point. One of the other articles that we had sort of in our goods was that the CDC just came out and said opioids are not that great for treating pain. Let's
right.
look at other stuff.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And insurance companies too are going to start doing that because it makes sense for them. And insurance companies,
You know what
With the
hurts
exception
even
of
worse
tape
than the original pain? The withdrawal you get after you're hooked on them.
sure,
Yeah.
or
I mean,
the
seriously?
surgery, right? I mean,
Right.
there's a lot of
Yeah.
a lot of injuries that need surgery because they get too painful, and if you can keep the pain down, you avoid
Just
surgery.
remind me, I got at least 2 people that I think you could help.
It's a gift of life. We always say take our free treatment cards. You pass them out.
Yeah.
We always tell our patients keep a stack with you when you see somebody in pain at the grocery store, even though you don't know them. The amount of pain that we talk about in people who go through depression because of the pain, you could be saving that person's life. I mean, I've had people tell me every single day,
Wonder, does it work on depression?
it'll
Just stick
It
it
works
in.
on the
No.
depression with the chronic pain.
No, I'm
But
just saying.
yeah,
I mean,
a lot
I have
Yeah.
some people that are
Yeah.
going through a bout of what is it, manic depressive.
Well, I mean,
you
when
know.
you hang out with us, I mean, we'll help you.
Yeah, just have
No, I'm wondering if you could
She
just
said-
you
she
know
said the girls
zap
give
him in
out
the back of the
self-awareness
head
to
and
everybody.
shoot
Yeah,
him
right.
up. You know?
All right.
My girls are like, we're not doing this anymore. It was a good idea for a while.
Yeah.
And I could speak personally. I've used her services when I injured my back, and it helped a lot. So, but it wasn't instant either. She's like, "Okay, feeling like no."
Yeah.
And it took me to like 5 hours later before my body's like, "Hey, what's up? What happened?"
I believe you were
Okay.
going to twerk. Was
I did go twerking.
Yeah,
the
I
next
think it was
day.
going to go twerk. I made
What?
him twerk.
Dropped it like it was hot.
If that's not a testimonial, I don't
Twerk?
know what it is.
Yeah.
Look
We'll
it
have
up
a
on
video
YouTube.
of that up
Yeah.
later.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
No.
Not me. We might have a volunteer here, but it's
Okay.
not me.
No. But I want to also
Then
throw in.
I'd have to go see you if I tried that. you know?
I'll videotape it.
right. And we're walking. And also this week, I want to throw in, it wasn't on our rundown, but Tesla, man, he released the new car.
Did he?
Yeah, today. The $35,000 Wonder Car, 200 plus miles per charge,
Really?
35 grand, zoom, zoom, zoom. And depending on your state, for those
How's
of
it
you
look?
that
Is it pretty
it
slick?
looks like all those others, too. It looks beautiful. It's just a beautiful four-door car.
Unfortunately, you can't buy them in the state of Michigan.
You cannot. The state of Michigan has banned them. You're not allowed to buy them here.
What?
What is the home of Big Three? Don't you want poor union auto workers? What's wrong with you?
Yeah, that's what it is.
That's what it
'Cause
is?
they don't sell based on a dealership
Bullshit.
model, and that's illegal in the state of Michigan.
That's correct.
That's bullshit. Let's go to Ohio and buy one.
Well, no, can't go high. I gotta go to Chicago.
Yeah.
It's your closest Tesla dealer. I've already looked. But I would actually go buy one down in New Orleans, because you go down to New Orleans, you buy it there. With all the discounts in, it's a $24,000 car.
Really?
Nice.
Yes.
So how do you get it up
And
here?
you just charge your...
do
You
you,
just
do
drive
you have to,
it.
You take a
no,
big
no,
extension
you
cord
drive it up
every-
here, but it goes 200 miles, and then you got to
roadside
stop
stop.
and plug it in somewhere. Where
That's
there's-
correct.
Is it like a house plug?
Well, it's
You know?
I don't
Honestly,
know,
though, you
actually.
could probably get the car shipped up here for pretty cheap.
Yeah, I was going to say, I just put it on the back of our client's
Yeah.
truck, and he'll haul it up for you.
Okay.
Give him $1,000 and bring it to your doorstep, or $500 or whatever. It'd be good hauled up. But yeah, they've got, because incentives. The state of Louisiana gives you $8,000 in incentives to buy an electric car.
Wow.
How are they? Income tax
No
or
incentives from the state of Louisiana. They give you back
like
$8 grand.
serious rebates?
You buy in the state
So
of
you got to buy
Louisiana
a car through a dealer in the state of Michigan. That's the issue. They won't allow
well,
dealers.
right. That's
Dealerships in the state of
That's
Michigan.
correct.
That's how they
They
do
don't
it.
allow their dealer type model in the state of Michigan
Yeah,
Right.
okay.
because of the big three auto companies.
Because it's
model.
direct. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not a subsidized model. So in Michigan, the model, somebody buys a dealership, they negotiate a deal with the manufacturers. Tesla's like, yeah, I want all that. I open up the dealerships. I own the dealerships. They're going to sell the way I want to sell. You're an employee of Tesla Motors. You go sell my cars. There's no middleman.
Which is interesting because Ford, Chrysler, and GM all own their own dealerships, but in
They,
the state of Michigan.
but that right.
But it's a
not
different
state-
wing. It's a different
not in the state of
department.
No, they own dealerships in the state of Michigan.
Oh, see, I didn't know that.
They own a ton of dealerships in
Yeah.
the state of Michigan.
It's
Oh,
probably
yeah,
just
yeah.
not direct. It's
Yeah.
through all
It has
the
to be.
different corporate
Yeah, it
networks.
has
Yeah,
to be.
it's
Has to
Tesla's
be.
just said, you know what, work hard, good enough. We're not playing your game.
Yeah, we
We're
don't
gonna
need
sell
to.
it in New Orleans, and people are gonna drive down.
Yeah, we're gonna sell Chicago, and they got
Apparently, I'm buying my
New
next
York,
car
and-
in Orleans.
New Orleans.
Let's go down
We're
there.
slaughtering it for those of you in New Orleans. Sorry, we call it New Orleans, and it sounds all you lady, we're just
My
trying to
wife has
bond.
always wanted to
We're just trying to bond because, you know, if you ever been to New Orleans, you know why.
Bonding is good.
That's right.
That's
New Orleans
right.
is a fantastic place.
I'm smart on Louisiana's part. It's like Delaware. You form a corporation, you want to go to Delaware.
Oh,
they
yeah.
have laws.
That's
Now
tax
it's like,
laws.
oh, well, let's buy a Tesla.
I want one of those cars though. You know, it's affordable now. That's kind of like that's in reach. Thank
Yeah.
God.
Well, I mean, just to back tag to New Orleans and Louisiana, they also have the car that we talked about last week down there, the $6,800 Road Warrior Mad car, right? That also is being built in New Orleans.
Oh, the ELO.
Yeah, it's down in, Louisiana, yeah. It's in Louisiana.
So I wonder what the waiting period is for one of these now that they've just come out with it. They've released it.
They said
it's like
you
10
won't see
years
one
or
until
something.
2017.
Yeah.
You're on the list to buy it, but you're gonna get it until 2017, February or something. So to get it, so they opened it today on sale. You put $1,000 down, and then in 2017 you actually buy it because they got to produce. So
Was that the ELO that you're talking
No,
about?
I'm talking about the
Tesla.
Tesla. You said you want a Tesla,
Wow,
right?
yeah.
The ELO, right? Yeah. Yeah, the ELO. No, they'll take
Time to
forever.
go put
Well,
$1,000 down.
he's having now. Is he having pain? You know, and you know he's got demand that's
I don't
way
think
out,
Elon Musk
out
has that much
outstripping
pain
his
at
ability
all,
to.
you know,
Yeah, I mean, I would
Media.
ask
His
the
brain
question
curve's
about.
gone way past. Like he's built that part, and he's like
Yeah.
moved on, and it's the next thing.
Yeah.
Like he's just.
I would ask the question about what his, how is he set up to handle the demand? I mean, that would be the biggest concern that I have is the gap between the phenomenal job of marketing
Right.
that's created all of this demand. Do you have the capacity to actually deliver
No.
on that demand?
Well, they built.
doesn't.
They're finishing their giant factory in
Right.
Colorado.
Right.
So,
He
I mean,
doesn't
yeah.
yet. That's why.
Yeah.
So he's gonna and it's just gonna start
They
cranking them
built
gonna
out.
like
crank
the
out the
biggest
mass
battery
market
factory in the world in
Yeah.
like Colorado or Wyoming or something
Yeah.
like that.
Good
But
for
you
him.
notice, I
man.
think he's really kind of taken his time on getting this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They've been talking about this for a long time.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I think probably, like, if we're going to wrap this all around, it's because before he sold it, he sat down with a lot of people.
Absolutely.
He
Yeah.
talked to a lot of people. He talked to people
All
who do
day.
the dealership model.
Yeah.
He probably talked
Yeah.
to people at the big three. He's like, let's make sure we do this the right way. So
He's
that
doing
when
it
we roll
step by
out,
step.
I'm
He's
sure
not
he is.
right.
He's
So he doesn't
thoughtful.
roll
He's
out
very-
an inferior
Talking about a
product
guy,
and
this
shoot
guy
himself in the
has
foot.
plans. I mean, this guy
Well,
is
he
the
already
person who
said he
launches
was-
satellites into space
Well,
for NASA.
That's right.
So-
He had already said that I'm not going to build a mass market car until I prove the model of my car. Before I do that, I need to first prove with like the tester car, the one the bleeding edge is going to buy, and then I'm going to go from there to a luxury car.
Right.
And then once I get enough people who want the luxury car, 2% of the car buying population or
And
less.
he's got that,
Yeah.
right?
Now he's cleared all that. Now I've got my proven production lines. I know my kinks,
Yeah.
my problems. Now I'm going to scale it down to a mass market car and let her rip.
And he's
And he
got
did.
the desire, and you know,
Sure.
and it's out there.
And if you think that
I'll
doesn't
buy one.
apply to your business, you're wrong. 'Cause
That's
Sherise
correct.
earlier just got done saying she went out, she
Yep.
gave it to people, she made sure
Yep.
the model
That's
worked,
right.
and that's when she started doing it. It's the exact same thing.
Absolutely.
Elon
That's
Musk
right.
sitting right here.
It's all a
Who
matter
knew?
of scale.
Who knew?
Who knew?
Elon Musk of laser.
Mhm.
So you're training technicians and arming them with the equipment and sending them out in the
I
field.
have 6 girls on the field right now. in
Okay.
about 15 locations. So we went from trying to figure out what was going to be the best setup for us, you know, and which accounts fizzled and why did they fizzle,
Right.
and you know what was going to keep us alive and moving. And so now what we're doing is we're training them and we're moving up into account execs. So that's what they do is that they go out there and they're servicing, so that my technicians are just technicians,
Right.
and
That's
I'm in my
right.
business. So
Good
you
girl.
know, yeah, it's
Good
trying
girl.
to put the steps and the ladders in place to make sure that.
Good.
But I'll tell you, my heart is in the patient room. You know,
Well,
I'm
you-
still.
But that's okay. That's your passion that drives the
Right.
creation of the business.
Absolutely.
yeah.
But because you have that passion, you know, it's like the E-Myth, it's like we've talked about, it's all of that. You can't expect your technicians to have it, but you can expect them to be good technicians.
Absolutely.
And that's what you want. And then
Absolutely.
your passion drives the creation of it.
Right.
Absolutely.
Did you guys read the article about how adults can, on the his end of it, how when
How
the,
childish they can behave.
right, exactly how they could be. Yeah, go on, John, elaborate.
I thought it was disgusting, you know, that adults, you know, overtook the Pez factory's Easter egg hunt or whatever and ruined it for the kids and left little kids crying with broken baskets, you know, because they're racing out there to get eggs for their own
For
kids,
their
I
own
guess,
kids.
or you know what, and you know, let the kids go out there, you know, organized, but they broke the rules and they ruined it for everybody. So now Pez will not be doing that any longer.
And this is so sad. So as somebody who has school age kids, I'm sure you can chime in on this as well. It's,
one or nine.
this is like this is such a symptom of the way in which we are parenting our kids these days. I have a child in middle school, in his first year of middle school right now. He'd be mortified if he saw this show and saw that I was talking about him, so I won't name him Sam. But anyway, my child is learning the hard way the importance of taking responsibility for his actions. He's made some very interesting choices in the past few weeks around doing homework, delivering assignments on time, being more social, etc. And so there are so many parents I know who look at me and say, why aren't you helping him? Why aren't you going in, talking to the teachers, getting his assignments, going into power school, making sure he's on top of it? Because that's not my fucking job.
Yeah.
My job,
That's his job.
my
She's
job
got
is to
yeah.
say, you know what? I will love you no matter how you turn out in this world.
So-
His job is to decide whether or not he's going to take responsibility for getting his act together.
So pain is a good thing?
No, I mean,
You know-
Well, wait a minute. Now, let me
Pain-
pain is a good thing
Yes.
in business and
Sometimes,
in
sure,
child rearing because that's how we learn,
Yes,
right?
but John, I am helping him understand the pain that he experiences and how he wants to deal with it as a 6th grader in the safety and loving embrace of my home.
Oh no!
Versus
right. You know,
kicking him out
because
in the world to
and
figure it
here's
out on his
the
own.
problem is you support them, you catch them, so
Yes.
they avoid that pain, and then they get to 18, 21, they get out in the real world,
They have
and
no
they
idea
crash,
what to
and they
do.
crash
So
in
That's
the
right.
big
Bring it
world,
back to this
and it's
actual
really
They live in your
article,
basement
right?
till they're 30.
You know, let's bring it back to the article
Yeah.
a little bit. All these parents going out and grabbing these eggs, right?
Right.
I'm
I was
very
getting there,
torn on
James.
this. Okay, I did an Easter egg hunt with my son at a family member's
You're that
house,
parent?
and there were some other, mildly related kids there who were like distant cousins and stuff like that. And all Right.
he's not gonna own up to him right now.
And the family we were at, they ended up putting a little cash on some of the eggs. Right?
Oh,
So my son was running around and got all these eggs, and he was so happy. And he opened one of them, he had a $5 bill, and he's going through the rest of them. And he was like, at the end, he's like, "Where's my $5 bill?" And the kid next to him's like, "Oh, I found the $5 bill over there. It's right here. I got it. I got $13." And my son was like, "That was my $5 bill. Can I have it back, please?" And the kid was like, "No, I found it. It's mine." And my son was just devastated by this.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "Please, can I have it back?" And I'm like, "It's okay, man. Don't worry about it. We'll handle it." And, so I talked him down from this devastated position. And later on, I felt really bad about it. Because I felt like I should have been sticking up for my son, and I should have made this kid give back, what he had taken from him. And I didn't let him stick up for himself.
I know. I get torn.
It's a
out of
real.
that. I get torn
it's
because.
It's one of those situations,
Oh, I
He's
would-
8.
Well, here, your kid learned that this is the real world that we live in. That's
I would've
kind of
Sure.
shitty.
I would have gotten him to be like, okay, you can either make the right decision right now on your own and give it back. You got 2 seconds to think about this, or if not, I'm gonna go to mommy. So you got 2 seconds.
Well, yeah, I don't really like his parents, but anyway.
I can turn
And
around
then
and
afterwards,
take
the
5
kid
bucks
was
Because the
out.
parents would
I
be
got
like, so he
$13.
found it. What's he gonna do?
I got $13, and I'm just like,
Or he's running his mouth all like
Yeah.
whatever.
who taught you how to be a child? Like,
Who taught you? to be a
Well,
child?
here, I go back to the coordinators of it. It's like you're putting cash in these eggs, and you have different age children running around. You know exactly what's going to happen. The older ones are going to get wind of it, and they're going to run over the younger kids because it's just going to happen. So you got to keep it to Reese's peanut butter cups.
So all right,
you know?
all right, that's I used to do a volunteer program with JCs, and we'd go out, and there was about 3,000 eggs that we'd have to fill.
Yeah.
Which, just for the record, filling 3,000 plastic eggs
it's not fun.
fucking sucked. That being said,
Easter's overrated.
Right.
that being said, so it was a free event, and you'd get all these kids would line up, and you get all these parents would line up with kids. So you had the helicopter parent pulling on their kid like a dangling strap on,
Right.
running along, and they might as well have like a vacuum sucking eggs, and you've got like the 14-year-old kid, which shame on you, parent, all of you that brought your 14-year-old kid when it said
Right.
clearly 10 years old, apparently you failed reading. So they bring the 14-year-old kid shows up, and he's like, bam, bam, check, stomping the 8-year-old kid in the ground. Mass chaos. I personally think those whole things, it's an invitation to just some of the worst stuff in humanity. Just like it is the kids' version of Black Friday.
That's right.
In a store. It is not much different. I swear to God.
Right.
Watch those Walmart Black. I'm like, dude, it's a TV.
Right.
Holy shit! You just stepped on a grandma.
Right.
That grandma's gonna make the turkey. Some
Yeah.
families without turkey, you for a TV. Oh my God!
Save
Like, you know,
$37.
right? Oh my God! Right? It's candy. It's an
No,
egg.
Black Friday's
It's a
after
Pez.
Thanksgiving, so.
Right, yeah, right. right.
Right, Grandma's
Screw-
job's done. So
So it's
screw-
okay.
She's got a month to heal before Christmas. She'll be all right. Rub some dirt on it, Grandma. All right.
No, I get it, but that's the world we live in, and we can't. Too bad we're not all on the same sheet of music about raising
when
our
you're-
kids to love and
when
respect
you're an
each other.
adult, there are
You know?
realities to this world that you have to deal with, and when you're a child, there are things that you should allow your children to be, exposed to, and things that you should shelter them from.
I get.
And I chose you in the
Colin
moment.
flag on the field.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying,
And we're walking.
All right.
Yeah,
In the name of
fine.
time. And we're walking. All right, I'm going to actually clip a couple segments because we've walked past them.
Many times.
And I'm going to go actually into the tip of the week. So this is the part where everyone gives their tip of the week for the viewer, what they want them to, as a takeaway to have. And we'll start out going opposite of last time. John, your tip of the week for the viewer.
I brought one. I got one.
Look at you.
And I wrote it down so I didn't get it wrong. But you know what? It's when planning your retirement, and when you're planning your retirement or to leave your business or career, you need to plan for why you're leaving. What are you leaving it for? You need to have a plan. The quote was, "Successful second acts don't happen by accident." And then the advice was to find your passion. Really, because the sad story is, Dad retired after 30 years and didn't have anything to do and ended up dying, a couple years later.
Yeah.
Find your passion and make the transition, transition for a reason, not just because you're 65,
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
so.
Oh, me.
Yes, young lady.
Yeah, tip.
For
Well,
the customer, or the
for-
client, or whoever.
Well, one thing that I have to say is we talked a lot about how it relates back to my business, but we talk about symptoms. And in our business, it's not about just when the symptoms happen coming to see me. It's about seeing and taking care of your life, taking care of your business, taking apart everything that you have and maintaining it. Being proactive, like you mentioned earlier. Not a lot of people can afford to take 6 weeks off because of a surgery because they failed to recognize the symptoms, failed to take care of it ahead of time. So for them to come see me, it's great for them to come and when we'll definitely be there when they have a catalyst event. They drop their pencil, they go to pick it up, and definitely come see me. But before that, if you have an active lifestyle, that, your job, you sit at a desk 8 hours a day, or you're driving 8 hours a day, or whatever it is that's physically, hurting you, come in and see and take care of your health and maintenance and wellness side of things before it becomes an issue. Before
An
you
ounce
can't
of
handle
prevention's
it.
worth a pound of cure.
Prevention
We
is
said
the way to
that
go.
the other day.
I say it all the time.
Mhm.
I say it all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's cheaper that way to do it than versus taking all of that time out. So we're there for you that way.
Thank you.
Great.
That's
Counselor.
exactly right. Well, Sherise pretty much took mine, but I'm just gonna
Sorry.
tie. No, that's fine. You're the guest.
Sorry.
I can think on my feet. I went to law school, right?
Right.
I'm just gonna tie that in and say it's your contracts, right? If you ever sign something with somebody, review it sooner rather than later by somebody who knows what they're doing, right? Don't copy and paste Google templates or whatever. If you don't understand it, there's a problem. And if you don't go through and talk about it with them, there's a problem. Because every relationship has pain points, right? If you've addressed it ahead of time, you've figured out how it's going to work out in the contract, all that, then you smooth right over it. If you don't, you got to argue about interpreting it. Best case scenario, right? You go your separate ways and you just break the relationship. And then absolute worst case scenario is $1 million lawsuit where I make money, but you don't.
I have a quick question for you. Have you ever actually read the Apple user agreement?
No.
Mr. Contract?
I haven't. And you know what? There are court cases that say that because nobody reads it and Apple knows nobody reads it,
Right.
it's not actually binding.
Really?
Yep. That's another issue,
So,
right?
so the
Is that
South Park scenario can't
Really?
actually
Really? So the
No.
fine print doesn't matter anymore?
if I give you something with fine print knowing that you're not going to read it, and you can show that my intent is to get you to not read it and trick you
Because
into
I've
doing
buried you
something,
in text.
Because
Sure.
it's 60 pages long.
then when you put that in front of a jury,
That's
right?
huge.
It's a question of fact that goes to a jury of people like us.
Right.
They're not going to take the
That's
side
huge.
of
That's great.
That was a big part of the
Makes-
predatory lending
Yeah,
process.
Yeah, it makes me feel better though because I never ever read. You know, the stuff that's half the
Right.
font size. I don't
So
don't
make
do
it
it.
really big and
Right.
cut it down to the important stuff.
Right. Well, that's what I'm just talking about with somebody. You know, you want bullet points. You want to lay everything out. These are the things that go into our relationship. You talk about it ahead of time, and then you can't come back later and say, "Well, I never read that."
Right.
Right.
You know. So
My tip of the week for you, the faithful viewer out there in cyberspace that we love so much, it's pretty simple. Financial chaos creates ruin, so avoid it. It's real simple to avoid the financial pain. Plan for it. So I'll quote my beautiful wife. Fail to plan, plan to fail. Pretty simple. Tattoo it on yourself, put it on the
She's
wall.
the one that came up with
hang,
that.
hang it over your desk.
yeah.
I don't care where you got to put it because it will be the ruin of you. And it doesn't mean just your finances. It means your direction for your business. It means your direction for life. It means your direction for everything. Because yes, you can be a leaf on the river, but you could be a leaf on the river with a plan, or you can be a leaf on the river that doesn't know what the hell's going on.
Right.
That's right.
I recommend having the plan because then you got plan B, C,
Yeah.
D, E, F. Holy crap, I invented whole new letters. I don't even know where I'm going because I got so many plans on my
Right.
plans to cover myself in case things go sideways.
Yeah.
That's my advice for the week.
What
Thanks for
was
listening.
that you said? Without a destination, any road will get you there. or
If you don't know
something?
where you're going, any path's going to take you.
I
there.
love
That's
that.
right.
That's pretty good.
Sir?
Okay, so here's a good one. This is more compliance related. It's a new thing that's happening here in the state of Michigan that most people probably don't know about. At the end of February, the Department of Labor in the state of Michigan,
They're our friends.
Lara, yeah, great friends.
They're our friends. They're
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
They released
I didn't know that.
a new form and regulation that you're required to fill out and give to every employee that you fire in your business. And if you don't do it, it's a $10 fine.
Bam!
So
How about that?
yeah,
Well, it's only $10. Thank God.
Yeah,
I
but-
was scared for a
Well, that
minute.
can add
Yeah,
up,
but
though.
that opens
I
the
know,
door.
I know, but
Yeah.
usually they're $100 a day for 365 days a year. So
I haven't looked in a couple of days. There actually might be a carrying component to that, but it's at least $10 per occurrence.
That's so nice of them.
And I'm pretty sure most people don't know about it at this
Oh, no.
point.
That's
so,
because they're looking out for us, though.
yeah, but we include it with our labor posters when we hand it out to people, so that you have a copy you can post, and
Yeah.
I'll tell you where the links are. You can print them off whenever you have someone.
The last thing you want to have to do as a business owner is just check the Lara website periodically to
Yeah.
see if there's anything new.
Yeah, no, that's
Not
like
fun.
a walking through a quagmire. All right, Coach, you get to close us out with
All
this
right,
segment.
you know what? I'm gonna go with what Sherise said. Actually, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. I really think that it's so critical when you're in a business to take the time to step back and understand what is the big picture, where are you trying to go, what is it that you're wanting to build, how are you going to exit from it. How can you make sure that all of your ducks within it are in a row? That's what you use us
Damn
for.
ducks.
And that's where we can really help you, is making sure that you've got that plan so that you know where you're going, because it's more expensive, it's more work, it's more headache, it's more everything. All of those pain points are produced because of a lack of prevention. So be proactive.
Thank you, Coach.
good value, guys.
Now, as a final wrap up, I'm going to add a new segment. So, yeah, I know, right? Because I can. And so every week, my wife and I, we watch this show, Criminal Minds. And okay, so it's a minor thing we deal with on a regular basis. And in that show, they always end with like this closing quote of to make you think deeply on whatever the episode was about. So I want to make that as an ongoing thing going forward, and anyone can pick it each week. I don't really care. I picked this week because it's new and no one knows about it. And
What?
going forward,
A new segment? Or-
no, this new segment /
Quote.
closing ending quote for the show, right?
Oh,
Right,
okay.
right.
I'm not
And it's by
listening.
Thomas Edison, and he's like, I've not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways it didn't work.
That's exactly.
And I stole it all from Nikola Tesla.
No,
But I would agree.
No, that's just one of the things that worked.
That's right. That's true, exactly. Right. And he failed all his. He's like, oh, well, this guy Tesla's got a great idea.
I would bring it back to the
I-
Tesla. You know?
I'm calling dibs
Tesla.
on the next.
That's fine. We got the next one.
Yeah.
With that being said, everybody out there in cyberspace, we love you. Thanks for watching. Come back next week. And for the rest of the next month, we're going to do Futurepreneurs. That's right. It's my word. It's my Sniglet word. Sniglet for all you old
Look it
people.
up.
Look up Futurepreneur. You'll find no definition I'm aware of. But next week and the weeks thereafter, for the month of April, it's all Futurepreneurs. And every month, going after, we're going to have a theme. So you'll catch that up on our website. I'll post the upcoming themes for the upcoming months. But for the month of April, it's all about people who do food, know food, love food, and make food a livelihood.
I like food.
I'm thinking it's going to be a good month.